again, welcome back. Here we are to talk about, or continue talking about, making our weather API library. And so far we've done challenges 1 through 6, and now we're on to challenge number 7. So challenge number 7, the idea here is that you want to add a couple new methods. One of them is going to be getWeatherByZip, which we do already, but we're going to break it out into its own method. And then there's another one that's getWeatherByCity and getWeatherByGeoCoordinates. And if you look at the, I'll actually go find this page again, right? So I'm going to go up here. I'm on Open Weather Map. I'm going to go to their link, and I'm going to click on their API, and then I'm going to go to the Current Weather Data API. And then I'll scroll down, and you can see they give us a sample here of how to get the weather. And then as you scroll down, they're going to say that there's several different ways or several different endpoints they provide. So they provide by city ID, and you can provide the city ID number, right? So you say ID, and then and then it takes mode and units and language. And then you can provide coordinates. So you can say latitude and longitude, and then you can get, that you can apply the ID, the mode, the units, the language. And then they also have by zip code, which is what we're using right now. So it's the same, essentially like this address right here is the same on all of these, right? So it's like API openweathermap.org, data 2.5 weather, or data 2.5 weather, and this one is the same, or data 2.5 weather. The only thing that's different is the parameters that you pass on the end of the URL after the question mark. Okay? So what we'd like to do is, or what this challenge is asking you to do, is to write a couple functions that can fetch the weather for these different options. So, we'd like to give a developer the opportunity to use a zip code or a city name or the geolocation to use our library, right? So that would be, that's kind of up to them, like how they supply that information, right? But for us, we just want to make that available, right? So it's an option, all right? So far, we have this getWeather function that takes the zip code. So we're going to turn this into a getWeatherByZip, but really this path right here is the only thing that changes, okay? So it's the only thing that changes, and then the rest of this should basically be the same for each one of those calls. So what I think we should do here is we should do this. We should say, let's see here, let's do function get weather by, I'm looking over here, by zip, right? And then we can include the zip code and the units. And then we can do function get weather by city. And then this would be city and units, and then we can say function get weather by geo coordinates, right? And then this one should take latitude, longitude, and units. All right? And your goal is to look at the, actually let me move this down, right, is to look at the URL here, and really what I think can happen here is each of these functions can just put together the URL with the specific data and pass it on to this function. So instead of taking a zip code, getWeather might just take the path, right, and the API key. Oh yeah, actually these will have to have the API key. Let's include that. So let's say, let's do API key, comma, API key, comma. Yeah, so we'll have to have the API key there, right? and then it can just include that, include the correct parameters here, and then pass it on to this function that will handle doing the request. Okay. So if you have an idea on how you might arrange that and get that working, you can stop the video and work on that for yourself, and then you can come back to the video and we'll walk through a solution. Okay, so how did you do? Let's take a look. So what can we do here, right? So I've got my values here, right? And what I want to do is I want to get, like, this one's get weather by zip. So actually we can just borrow this thing, right? So I'm just gonna copy that and paste it here. So this one is get weather by zip. Let me actually make this a little bit wider there, right? And we'll take in the API key. Oh, I spelled this uppercase and this one lowercase, so I should fix my spelling there. And then I've got zip and units, right? And then what I want to do is I want to be able to call the weather function down here and say get weather, right? And remember, get weather is going to return a promise. So actually what I want to do is I want to return the promise returned from get weather. So we're going to return get weather here, and then I'm going to include the path like this, right? So this one generates a path with a zip, API key, and units. And then down here, I'm going to change all of this to just take in a path, and then we can get rid of the path here. Okay? So there's our basic setup, right? So we've got, actually let's make this a little bigger. So we've got, we're going to call get weather by zip, take in the API, zip, and units, and I change the order of these, right? So, we're going to, in our main code, we're going to have to call on this and make sure that these parameters are passed in the correct order, right? But when we call this, we'll generate the path, we'll call get weather with the path, pass the path in here, and then we'll use the path here. This function should return a promise because it's an async function. So that promise that was returned, we're going to return here, and then get weather by zip can be handled as a promise, right? Or it can be handled as if it returns a promise. Okay, so let's use it now. So currently this get weather is going to be broken, right? So we're going to change it to get weather. Oh, actually, you know what? I got to do one more thing. I've got get weather here, but I have to export it. So I'm gonna export it as get weather by zip like this, and then I should do get weather by city and get weather by geo coordinates. Like I should export those, and then I'll fix these later. Okay. And then we're going to take off this get weather function because maybe this function here, we don't want people to use it from outside of our class, like because it requires the path. And if you're, we could make this public, but I think we're going to hide this one. And we expect other developers just to use these three, okay? Okay, great. So now, actually, let's do one more thing here. I'm going to copy this because that way I'll remember the order that these parameters are in. So let's go to the top here, and we're going to import get weather by zip, and then we'll go here. We'll paste this one in here, and we'll get our zip, our API key. We'll use the default units, right? Oh yes, we don't have default units. Let's add that in here. Let's do default units equals imperial, right? And that should be the same for all of these, right? So let's put that in here, and then let's give it a try, right? So I think that's our solution there. Let's take a look, right? So we've got we're importing get weather. We've got our API key right here. I've got my zip code right here. And over here, I'm exporting get weather by zip. And when you call get weather, we should put the path together and then call get weather down here to actually fetch the weather. Okay, let's take a look. So let's try 90210. Oh, great, it's working. 63.52 degrees. It's been warming up, right? Feels like 53. Feels like that's 10 degrees lower. That's kind of a weird, maybe it's windy. I don't know. So anyway, so you can try these other ones here. Use the path here. So for example, like the geo coordinates, right? Let's copy that and let's paste it in here. So this path is going to look like this, right? But what we want to do is we want to, let me actually just copy all of that. And what we want to do is we want to take this thing right here. Oh, that one's city. I'll just leave that there and then we'll fix it in a moment. I'm going to copy this and paste it down here like this, right? This is the geo coordinates, right? So here I've got the open weather map path, and then it has latitude and longitude, API key, and units. So I'll take all of this right here and I'm going to copy everything up until, I think I copied it up until here. Oh, I need the equal sign, right? So API ID, got the API key. And then these guys, they got to have the $sign in front of them to be JavaScript, right? And then I use the same names, latitude and longitude, but it looks like I didn't spell API key correctly, so I'm going to make that uppercase K. And then I've got units on the end. So there we go. Now let's get the city ID. So where's zip code, city ID? Actually, I guess I have city ID and city name. Let's do city name. Maybe we can make another one that would be called, get weather by ID, right? But I think the city name one is better for us, right? So city name also includes the state as an option, and so we could work that into our code, but we'll just start just with the city name itself. Though I guess you run the risk of mistaking cities, like Paris, France versus Paris, Texas, right? So that could be a problem, but we'll solve that later. So here's our city, and let's paste that in there. So this one's going to look like this. I'm going to just get everything here up until the API and the equal sign, and then I'll just paste it. And then the city name right here is going to be $. And I just use the name city, so I'll just put city in there, okay? So that we made a path, we call get weather, we return it, and there you go. So that would be a solution there. You could think of a way, oh, wait, then I misspelled API key. Let me fix that. Okay, so this would be the solution here. You could try and test this. So there would be a challenge for you is make an input field that takes the city name and see if you can type the city name in there. You could actually just take the one that we have here, take off the option that sets the type of the field to number, change it to text, so that way you can type letters and letters in there, right, to spell out the city name. Right now, it currently limits what you type to a zip code, right? So you could take that off, and then you could type anything into that field, and then you could just replace get weather by zip with get weather by city, right? Okay, so give that a try, and hope that works for you, and thanks for watching.